Good morning. I'm Jennifer Palmer, and I'll be your online worship leader today. During the service, we recommend you have your Zoom screen set to speaker view. This is Common Ground, our celebration of worship for people of many paths who are gathering virtually to share in the responsible search for meaning and truth. Pathways is a warm and open community where all who come with open minds and kind hearts are welcome, regardless of ability, age, race, gender identity, or sexual orientation. If you're visiting with us for the first time today, we welcome you to our virtual service and hope you'll visit us in person when we can be together again. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. To send us a note about your visit or ask for more information about Pathways, email office@pathwaysuu.org. We hope that all who join us today find this a safe and inspiring online place to worship. Our opening song this morning is hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken, sung by Cat Stevens. Feel free to sing along while remaining muted.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the red garden, sprung in completeness where his feet passed. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world.
As we virtually light our chalice this morning, please join me in these words by Inuit shaman Uvavnu. The great sea has set me in motion, set me adrift, moving me like a weed in a river. The sky and the strong wind have moved the spirit inside me till I am carried away, trembling with joy. I invite you now to join in a renewal of our sacred promises. Please read along with me. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our speaker this morning is Mark Bernstein. Mark is a former staff member of the Central East region of the UUA and currently works as adjunct staff for the association. He has been a member of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Delaware County in Media, Pennsylvania for over 28 years. Mark lives in Springfield, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Philadelphia. Our call to worship this morning will be delivered by Mark.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. Greetings from Philadelphia. I have a brother and sister-in-law who live in a suburb of Dallas, so I've been to your neck of the woods a couple of times, and it's nice to be back with you, albeit virtually. The call to worship this morning are the words of Elizabeth Mount. From our very first breath, we reach out. Co-regulation, not self-regulation, is in our nature. We find our cues from the sun and the moon, from each parent and caregiver. We find our place in this great turning planet by turning to one another. Generation to generation, we awaken to the dawn and fall asleep at the evening's end. Our life's journey is part of something greater, something simple, something divine. A flame cannot be lit without a spark. A life cannot begin without the air. And we cannot begin to find ourselves without love. May we reach out to one another. May we offer love and nurturing care. May we join together in celebration of the interdependence of our lives. In this spirit, let us worship together. The words of Elizabeth Mount.
Well, thank you, Mark. That was beautiful. Our worship song today is Holy Now by Peter Mayer.
When I was a boy each week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. That he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at home. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. the sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face, say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Now we welcome Mark to our virtual pulpit. Let me stop sharing my screen. There we go. It's all yours, Mark.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Let me just do one quick thing. Okay. Beautiful music, beautiful visuals, and great lead-ins to my message to you this morning. But this time I had writer's block before I started writing. I was struggling with how to begin this spiritual message. And so I went to my wife, whose opinion I trust very much, and I asked her what she thought of when I said the word awe. She pondered this for a few moments and said, puppy dogs. Puppy dogs, I responded. Why puppy dogs? Well, she said, whenever I see puppy dogs, I go, aw. No, I said, that's not what I mean. Oh, she continued, do you mean the sound you make when a doctor looks down your throat? No, I sighed, that's ah. I could tell that Debbie was having fun with me. Well, then you must mean a conjunction used to link two alternatives. No, I was almost screaming now. That's or, as in either you help me with this, Debbie, or you can leave me to my misery. I love my wife, but sometimes she is just no help. Awe is a deeply misunderstood emotion, and yet most of us experience it every day, sometimes several times a day. The Reverend Janet Parsons of the Gloucester Unitarian Universalist Church in Massachusetts defined it this way. Awe is our response to a glimpse of something that is greater than ourselves. And as we experience that glimpse, the night sky, a bird that reminds us of a dinosaur, music that makes us weep, we can understand better how we are just one small part of the whole of the universe. You might be the star of your own life, but you are sharing the stage with countless other lives across time and space. This sense of wonder, this sudden realization that there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that is at the core of awe. On February 18th of this year, I turned away from my perpetual Zoom meetings and I looked to the sky, or more specifically to a NASA live stream to witness the Mars landing of the rover Perseverance. I'm sure that many of you remember this. It turns out that during the descent, Mission Control at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California was not controlling Perseverance. It was literally on its own, about 39 million miles away from Earth. Now, communications from Earth to Mars takes about 12 minutes. So scientists had to have confidence that they had prepared Perseverance for any eventuality and that it could navigate to a precise spot on the Martian surface, open a parachute at supersonic speed, deploy rockets to guide the descent, and withstand temperatures of more than 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. An infinite number of things could have gone wrong out there, but they didn't. Somehow, this human-made machine defied the odds. Imagine that. This feat, this overcoming of incomprehensible distances and even greater odds, is what creates feelings of awe. It's an emotion that alters our understanding of the world and changes our perspective. It often leaves us breathless at what is possible. To be in awe is to have an overwhelming amount of respect or admiration for someone or something, sometimes to the point of feeling nervous or fearful around them or it. In 1980, a professor and psychologist with the non-lyrical name of Robert Plutchik created what he called a wheel of emotions. He considered there to be 8 basic emotions: trust, fear, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger, anticipation, and joy. Adding up or combining these primary emotions in turn produces new ones. For example, anticipation and joy combine to produce optimism. Joy and trust combine to produce love. And for our purposes, surprise and fear combine to produce awe. Now, one can understand how the emotion of surprise can elicit feelings of awe. When we experience awe, we often say words like wow, or our mouth drops open. But fear? Why is the emotion of fear considered when we're looking at a beautiful sunset or watching a toddler take her first steps? It is, I believe, because awe enables us to understand our place in the universe, to come to the realization that we are infinitesimal, a microscopic part of something that is so much bigger than ourselves, and that this larger and sometimes incomprehensible world is filled with unknowns and things that go bump in the night, that we are fearful of what we are not fully capable of understanding, but in awe of its potential. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel writes that the meaning of awe is to realize that life takes place under wide horizons, horizons that range beyond the span of an individual life, or even the life of a nation, a generation, or an era. Awe moves us to tears and moves us to wonder and moves us to embrace the mystery of our very being, of our very lives. The transcendental phenomenon of awe has also, not surprisingly, been the subject of a great deal of scientific research. Studies show that taking the time to experience awe can be a pathway to improving our lives and our relationships. Awe can improve our mood, has long-term health benefits, can help us to think more critically, and may decrease materialism. One study concluded that the experience of awe elevates people from their day-to-day concerns, which often focus on the desire for money. Awe can also instill a greater sense of humility in us, humility. Studies show that people who are more prone to experience awe felt more humility and were rated as more humble by friends and loved ones. Awe can even make us more generous and cooperative, perhaps because of the way it encourages us to focus less on ourselves and more on the world around us. Researchers Paul Piff and Dr. Keltner conducted a study in 2015 in which people were given lottery tickets that would be entered in their name for a cash prize drawing. Each person was told that the tickets were theirs to keep, but that they could elect to share a portion of the tickets with another unidentified person who did not receive any tickets. Participants who reported experiencing more awe in their lives, who felt more regular wonder and beauty in the world around them, were more generous to the stranger. They gave approximately 40% more of their tickets away than did participants who did not report awe-inspiring experiences in their lives. And awe can also help us to feel more connected to one another. For those who have been to General Assembly, the awe-inspiring feeling of sharing space and music and ideas with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists is often beyond words. In this congregation and UU congregations across the country, even during this time of physical isolation from one another, singing Spirit of Life or sharing joys and sorrows expressed by our fellow congregants can induce a sense of awe. Through our collective rituals, joint celebrations, music, and even sermons, awe helps shift our focus from our narrow self-interest to the interests of the group to which we belong. Awe helps bind us to others, motivating us to act in collaborative ways that enable strong, cohesive communities, and yes, even that elusive, beloved community. And it is in considering this concept of awe that finally we have something that atheists and theists, humanists and spiritualists can share. There is as much awe in understanding how an electric car works as there is in watching water cascade down a mountaintop. A scientist and a mystic took a walk together one beautiful fall morning. After a while, they came upon a large tree. The scientist was feeling a little tired and asked if they might pause for a few moments to take a rest. The mystic agreed, and they sat next to each other, backs leaning against the tree trunk. As they sat, their conversation gradually dwindled, eventually settling into silence. Eventually, the mystic asked the scientist, "What are you thinking about?" The scientist responded, "Oh, I'm just sitting here thinking about how amazing this tree is. It lives and thrives while remaining in one place without moving. It takes sunlight and converts it into energy, which feeds the whole food chain. They take carbon dioxide out of the air and produce oxygen for us to breathe. And while I don't imagine it means that much to the trees, I think it's pretty cool how the weather getting colder is a signal to the trees to cease producing and maintaining the chlorophyll, which is green. And so as the green fades, we get these brilliantly colored leaves that I so much appreciate. All in all, trees are pretty amazing, scientifically speaking. The mystic took all this in quietly, listening. After a brief pause, the scientist said, I shared what I was thinking. It's your turn now. What are you thinking about? The mystic responded, well, I've been sitting here communing with the tree, and it's been wonderful. I've been resting my hands on its bark and wondering at how something so immobile and rigid can simultaneously also be so alive. I've been feeling connected to the energy of the tree and the earth in which it's rooted. I've been listening to the breeze rustling the tree's leaves and appreciating the gentle, almost musical whisper. I also noticed the marvelous patterns of light and shadow dancing on the leaves from the sunshine filtering through. When you asked, I was musing about how much the tree has observed over the many years it's been here. How many people might have sat with their backs against it, just as we are now? How many children might have played on or near it? And while I didn't know until you just shared it that the orange of the leaves was already there and was simply masked by the green, I too was appreciating the brilliant colors of the fall leaves. The scientists took all this in quietly, listening. They sat in silence a little while longer, then helped each other to their feet and continued on their way. Choosing to experience awe in our lives is intentional. We can take a walk on a beautiful late winter evening and constantly look down as we walk, watching our steps so as not to slip and fall on the ice. Or we can look up and around and notice the sights and sounds of everything around us. We can accept events as they occur in our lives, or we can wonder about them and their meaning in our lives. Albert Einstein wrote, there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. We experience awe when we are open to life and opened up by life. So what are you in awe of? Is it the kindness of a neighbor, the courage of a firefighter, or the harmony of people singing? Is it the gentle falling of snow on an open field, the brilliantly colored wildflowers along the side of a busy highway, or the inspiring message of a Sunday sermon? Is it the ability of a center fielder to settle under a long fly ball, the composer to create a stirring piece of music, or the author to write yet another bestseller? Is it the fury of nature unleashing storms, the sacrifice of heroes like Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela, or the spine-tingling encounter with a spirit or a ghost? Michelle Chioda is a social psychology professor at Arizona State University. She writes, how often you experience awe depends on your mindset, how open you are to the novel and unexpected in your environment, whether you choose to seek out extraordinary experiences, how much you attend to the wonder and beauty present in everyday life. These all help create moments of seeing the world as a beautiful and amazing place. Before I end this sermon, I want to offer you an awe-inspiring experience, something that we can experience together. While this was a political ad during last year's election process, it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you may sit in order to enjoy this. And while our country has much to improve on, we can also appreciate what we do have. You might want to turn your volume up for this.
Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties. Above the fruited plain. But now wait a minute. I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this. America, I love you, America. You see, my God, he done shed his grace on thee.
My friends, may you experience awe this day and all the days of your life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mark. I need to go back. All right, our virtual chalice extinguishing is by Rabindranath Tagore. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth and numberless blades of grass and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death, in ebb and flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment. Our closing song for today is hymn number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning. Our thanks again to Mark and to all of you who joined our Zoom service today. Let's take some time to thank Mark, ask any questions we have, and visit for a bit after the service. The adult groups will start at 11:30. We hope that each of you on your individual path through the joys and questions of life found some common ground with your fellow travelers today. Every Sunday is new and different at Pathways. We hope you join us for Common Ground weekly. And now Mark will give our benediction.
This benediction is something that we recite in my congregation at the end of every worship service, and I couldn't think of anything more beautiful. For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. And for those who come to seek a path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step. Blessed be.
Thank you so much, Mark. I love that. That's really beautiful.